Blossom Moon. I want to share with you today my latest quilt. I'm making a shabby chic quilt. It's made from lots and lots of large fabric scraps. It's pieced together kind of like a large crumb quilt. So I'm really quite pleased with it. I run a vintage fabric shop on Etsy, so I've got lots and lots of fabric offcuts and a pretty big stash. So I thought with some of the leftovers that I wasn't able to sell, that I'd put it together and create a sort of lap quilt. So this is what I've got so far. I think that I'm going to add some borders to it. I think that I'm going to do that in another floral, just to tie it all together. So here you go. Looks really pretty amongst all of the flowers. Henri, do you like the quilt? Oh, thank you, sweetie. He likes it. Let's have a look at some of the fabric. Some of these are really vintage, old sheets. I've got a couple of new pieces of fabric in there, but not too many. This is vintage St. Michael's pillowcase. This is another St. Michael's vintage pillowcase, the blue. This one's from a new duvet set, but it's still got a sort of vintagey vibe. This was from a pillowcase, I really like that one. And then I think this was from a pillowcase, bound with some velvet ribbon. This one is a Jonelle vintage duvet set. So some of these pieces of fabric I wasn't able to sell, like you can see here. It's got some snags, but I'll quilt over those or maybe add something to it. We'll see. Should I carry on sewing, Henri? Henri? Should I carry on sewing? Okay. Okay, so I'll show you in the rest of the video how I got to this point. So these are all of my vintage sheets, vintage fabrics. I've got vintage curtains here. These ones are sort of my half-cut vintage sheets. So I've got some in stock all the time, and I've just built up quite a big collection. This lot here are vintage linens, crochet and doilies and tablecloths, and I collect them even if they've got stains on or imperfections, because I like to cut out some of the embroidery, and at least, part of that linen will live on in another project. So this is these are my offcuts. This is my current stash, and I do have quite a lot. So I've got a lot to choose from. So I keep, larger pieces, even small pieces like this. I quite like to collect, that's the right way. I quite like to collect floral motifs, like larger prints like this, because I think they look really pretty when you sort of cut them out and then sew them surrounded by other fabrics. So what I'm going to do is have a look through all of this and pull out some items to sew into my vintage shabby chic quilt. Realising that I've sewn the wrong side of the embroidery as the front of my quilt, so I'm going to unpick everything and I'm going to attempt to turn it around and resew it and just hope it works. So you can clearly see the difference between the front and the back. I mean, the back is still really tidy, but the front's gorgeous. So I'm going to try and get this fixed on correctly now. I like the look of this pink velvet ribbon framing this particular block, but I would have to miter the corners, so I might see how I get on with that. Actually, considering this is a scrappy throw together quilt, maybe I could just cut off this and do a really sort of rustic frame. That might be quite nice, and then it's not too perfect, because that's not the point of this quilt. This is just fabric scraps all joined together in like a large crumb piece style. So I think that's what I might do actually, but I think this block in particular is like, you know, the focus of the quilt really for me. So I think that is what I'm going to do. Let's just be scrappy. To go maybe to about there. There we go. Right then. That one there. Should we cut to about there? There we go. I'm going to cut to about there. Okay. So let's carry on. Oh, there's not much of this left actually. Oh my god. I'm going to have to go and get some more. So if I do that there, slightly longer. Do I have enough? Yeah, I do. I think I've got enough. I need them to be sort of uneven. Do I do lower? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. And then like that. That looks really cool actually. It's kind of nice, I like it. Right, so where do I cut this? I'm going to cut it to about there. Okay. There we go. Right, that is really cool. And that avoids the problem of mitering because I don't want to do it. Was really quite a quick quilt to make up to this point, but I haven't done any work on it now for a few weeks, so I tend to do a lot all at once and then something else will come up and I get distracted. So I'm going to try and get back to this and then show you the progress, because I'm going to quilt this. I'm going to try and do some free motion on it and see what that looks like. So I hope you enjoy.